Well, breaking news. It seems foolish Leah Red Crow, Treaty 6 up in Lac La Biche, hooks up with one Rachel Notley, Jagmeet Singh and Justin Trudeau's groupies, and decides to smear campaign me. But this foolish woman, aligned with her allies, Rachel Notley, Jagmeet Singh, and Justin Trudeau, don't realize that they've CC'd the ICC, International Criminal Court. They've CC'd absolutely Russia, China, USA, France, and UK. I am not a registered terrorist. I'm not a registered hate crime guy. I don't even have a criminal record in the country of Canada. If anyone's slandering, it's Leah Red Crow out of Treaty 6. And of course, why? Why? Because she's in bed with NDP. Folks, I'm going to make a clear statement about just how bad this is. And this is for all First Peoples, all Canadians. 2019, I did run for politics. I took on the establishment. I got slapped around pretty hard. 3 candidates, 1 FN for UCP. Now, I had the most FN candidates in the history of Canada inside my party. You'll find that published, whether the government likes to say that or not. We even had the only platform for First Nations peoples. But 3 UCP candidates chose to pose outside of me, nothing to do with me, with soldiers of Odin, whom I met that night like everybody else. I talked to everybody, regardless of stripe, whether I know their politics or not, just like anybody else. The difference is I stuck with my guns. They all played victim, except for one young candidate for UCP told the truth. It's published. I'm not charged. I'm not registered as a hate crime guy. I'm not registered by anything. Now, NDP pushed that. Rachel Notley pushed that as they continue a war on the Wet'suwet'en in the province of British Columbia. I'm bad. I'm racist, even though nothing of any of my policies are racist. Nothing I've ever put out publicly is racist, not even close. In fact, it's the opposite of racism. Opposite. A settlement of the claims for all the First Peoples who are legally the savage Indian under the Indian Act 1876 to 2022 right now as I give this video. And for any FN to claim that RCMP did all these things, which they did during residential school genocide, and then to run to them, and when that doesn't work, when I'm not racist and the RCMP is not going to charge me, I'm not a fraud, and I'm actually telling the truth, to go with NDP and scream and tell everybody, don't listen to this guy, don't report to the International Criminal Court, the real one, worldwide. Don't report to the UNSC P5, to use those and say, don't. This guy is tricking you into justice, tricking you into real world justice. Nothing to do with me. It's nothing to do with me. It's all the First Nations who have genocide discovered by accidental construction digs or through ground penetrating radar. You report to the International Criminal Court. You report to the UNSC P5, the United Nations Security Council, permanent 5 members, all the veto wielders, the allies of World War II. For the loser NDP and corrupt criminal FN that choose to align themselves with political parties who kill and genocide their own people. Right now, NDP does it. in the province of BC, lined with the Liberals, John Horgan and one Justin Trudeau, are participating in an Indian war against the Wet'suwet'en and many other nations. They've already extinct in the history of the Liberals 21 nations out of the province of what is British Columbia. All the same First Peoples are alive and well today, all 21 of them in the United States of America. You can call me all the things you want. You can run to the Allies and you can tell all the FN not to do any business with us, which isn't financial. It isn't anything but the truth to report to the United Nations Security Council to get justice for the souls of those children, for all the generations ever hurt by this corruption of a governing system, no different than South Africa. Now you can run to it. We knew in the Jewish Holocaust, the ICC has seen this throughout Africa. It's well published in Nazi Germany. Those who align themselves with the political establishment, those who will say and do whatever they can to screw their own people over. The Jews did it too. There's evil people. We saw it with the Japanese. There's those who wouldn't even come down to it in the end. When they're convicted, they still line with that imperial system. The abusers. We've seen it. Jews did it with Germany. We've seen other Southeast Asian with Japan. We've seen it in all the African nations. We've seen people just like those loyalists in Treaty 6 that run to the NDP and Liberals. Oh, God save the Liberals. God save the Queen, at the absolute expense of their own people. Our team of residential school genocide peoples are all First Peoples. They know all about my history. They know all about me, as does the UNSC and absolutely the ICC. This shit won't work. There's no RCMP coming to arrest me. There's no hate crime group where I'm being registered. It's the opposite, in fact. I didn't pose with Soldiers Odin like those candidates did. They chose to do that. Now they can lie. Leela here can still lie. I'm innocent. I was Miss Edmonton. They knew what they were doing. I was set up no different than they were. By who? The NDP. Now, everyone can cry and they can say, it's Dave Bjorkman. He did it. Because I was blind. I'm extremely poor. The next lowlife that comes forward attesting to me committing any hate crime, you're going to get your ass sued off. That's reality. It's why I'm off the anti-hate network. It's why everyone who's made an allegation has reversed it, including lunatic NDP. Now I can see Justin Trudeau, Rachel Notley, and Jagmeet Singh grabbing at straws for one Leah Redcrow because they're criminals. I guess I would too, but folks, there's no RCMP coming to arrest me. That's a good laugh. That's a really good laugh. It's pathetic when First Nations will cry like babies on YouTube videos, cry out on the media that they want world justice, and when world justice comes, you find out they're nothing but fucking liars. The same kind of NDP and liberal fucking liars as one Rachel Notley, Jagmeet Singh, and Justin Trudeau. Full of genocide lining their pockets. There's tons of FN doing it too. I'm not stupid. We can look at Governor General of Canada. Go look at Mary Simon. $1,055 in-flight meals, folks. With her entourage of all, we are supreme human beings, while Northern Inuits starve in inflation right now. Who's the fucking racist scumbag? Mary Simon. Who's her daddy? Oh, Hudson Bay Company. Oh, East India Trading Company legacy. Silver Spoon Pretendian. She may be First Nations in her bloodline, but she is through and through a privileged white racist piece of shit. That's reality, folks. She was eating on an airplane just a week and a half ago. $1,150 average meals in a plane. And her entire staff corks off the $400 bottle of champagne. Oh, just a glass. Oh, well, is it open? Throw it away. Everyone ordering a bottle. Caviar, lobster, all of it in flight. 8 meals, folks. $1,150 a pop. Do the math. Sick, perverted, well, literally tens of thousands of Inuit she professes to love and care about are starving right now. This inflation killing them, times 2 the rest of Canada. And I've seen all the posts. Canadians aren't stupid. Treaty 6 has always been garbage to me. That's reality. I'm going to reach out to the Grand Chief, but I have never had anything good with Treaty 6 besides at the level of chief with some of the chiefs. But a lot of them are pathetic, in bed with the Crown government, specifically NDP. It's pathetic. It's pathetic that you would fill your fat fucking pockets and line yourself with a system accusing me of racism, going to the ICC and the UNSCP 5. Silly little girl. You're only ruining your own people, proving beyond any reasonable doubt just how corrupt you are. I didn't rape Indian, Métis, or Inuit children. There's no history of that in my family. There's no first-class citizenry. None whatsoever. Never participated. In fact, if you had looked at anything in my family, you'd find a legacy from Sundre, Alberta. Stoney Nakoda could fill you in on just what my family legacy is, and our historical roots with First Peoples in this country. I don't profess to be a hero. I don't sit there and tell stories of self-aggrandizement. I do real works. And this is real works. This isn't Kevin and Annette shit. This is a nobody, a group of everyday Joe Jane Indians, Métis, and of Inuit descent doing works for the First People, for all the chiefs, to get that real justice they profess they want to have. A nobody, Kevin Annette, a professor of the Crown. He makes up a fake court. I bring you to the real court after completing 1 year's work and training in the real highest court of the world. I have mass amounts of academics. I'm not racist. I had nothing to do with Soldiers of Odin. I've already been cleared. I've already had NDP-aligned pieces of shit remove me from their publications. Do you know why? First Peoples, chiefs, presidents of Métis, and everybody else. Because I'm not guilty and I can sue. I don't have time for that crap. I only have time to deliver you an education. This whole team delivering you an education to get real justice in this world. It's not miraculous. It's not. None of this work is miraculous. 84 other nations of the world have been through it. In fact, Nelson Mandela and the UN elders were the first to do it. Show me one Canadian law firm, one Canadian non-for-profit or society that's ever brought this to you. The answer is zero. because they're all down with the crown and want to see the savage Indian destroyed. I didn't create that term. I'm not racist. That is the embedment and body of the Indian Act 1876, alive and well today. Part of the highest laws of Canada and the provinces. Utilized over and over and over again. All Canadians and all First Peoples will be subjugated in this system at some point in their lives, whether they like it or not. I don't know how any first person, unless greasy and filthy, in bed with the corruption of Canada, taking the check while all their people suffer and starve, would ever be down with the crown or the system. Now, Leah Redco said she wanted justice. The whole reserve did. And then they turn around, and when they get it, they go run out to everybody in CC. I'm a racist. Don't listen to me. I'm a fake UN guy. Fake UN guy. Folks, I will take Justin Trudeau, Jagmeet Singh, Rachel Notley any day of the week in front of any mass media in Canada. Already been tagged with a whole bunch of great experts. Multiple times, folks. And you know what Canada does? Closes the cameras and puts them away. Because don't ever highlight the truth of the crown. Don't change this system. Kill all the Indians and wipe them out until they're gone. Until they're in the other category. I didn't create this, folks. This is legislated in the design of Canada forever and a day. There were many colonial countries with it. I'm not a hero. I'm not in the UN. I am giving you the education to report, again, for the umpteenth time, against, yes, the government of Canada, which is one Justin Trudeau and his very, very corrupt Liberals. Not just his Liberals, the entirety of the Liberal Party since 1867. The PCs, the CPC, whatever name they want to call themselves, absolutely the Conservatives all the way back to 1867, Liberal Conservative Party of Canada. NDP, absolutely, as they've held the provincial crown many times. They're in line with the Liberals today with Jagmeet Singh. They know exactly what they're doing. They know exactly what they're doing to the First Peoples of British Columbia, where more than half the province is unceded at war with the government, and those people are removed from their land, beaten and kicked around like rag dolls, arrested whenever they want. That is not Dave Bjorkman. Never been me or anyone in my family entirely in all of our Canadian history. My ancestors came from California. Americans. My children are sixth generation. Before that, it was two brothers from Sweden. That's a fact. A fact. We were American, then we became Canadian. Wow, knowing what we know now, that never would have happened. I got nothing to hide. There's no RCMP coming after me. There's no charges. There's no crime. There's never been any crime I've ever committed. Zero. No record. Zero. None whatsoever. Everything I do is in the legal system. And this is international legal system. I completed the works. You can look on my Twitter. There are a pile of international, well-renowned academics. Why are they following me? Is it because I'm some kind of corrupt welder from the Boilermakers who happens to be a super racist? Why are all these people of color following me from high academia from Africa? Why are they all following me? Why? Because I'm just a great guy and I'm good at conning people? Well, where's all my money? Oh, I work for a living. I'm an average, everyday Joe Jane. You want to look at the truth? 2019. There's the publication of my financials, fully disclosed. The poorest politician to ever run in politics in Canadian history, let alone lead a party and run for premier in a majority. Wow. Wow, corrupt First Peoples. You low-life degenerates, you're no different than any of the politicians. And again, I'm going to say it, folks. 8 out of 10 of people you will deal with will be like this. And the pathetic part is a lot of chiefs will probably believe this crap. Sponsored by the people who killed your children. Does Dave Bjorkman or anyone in my family have anything to do with what was done in Canada? Zero. Anyone can look this up. Stony Nakota. I got nothing to hide. Justin Trudeau. How does your family stack up versus mine? Oh shit, we got you dead to rights. Dead to rights. Oh, all the politicians. I can show you how many times they voted for genocide. Now today, provincially and federally. Because that is the highest law of the land. That is one of the oldest laws of the land. 1876 Indian Act. Is anyone getting rid of it? No. They want. Thought I lost y'all, folks. I don't take it as accidental. People say, hey, you're probably just in a bad zone. I know this area my whole life. High 4G at least. When 5G comes out, I'll jump on it. But there are so many laws in Canada now passed, folks. So many laws to strip you of truth, knowledge, and absolutely the reality of what Canada really is. It's pathetic. I can't wait to get out of here. We're going to continue the work and let all the chiefs condemn us. Let them all stuff their pockets if they want to. Or sadly, the good chiefs that will fall for the narratives from Treaty 6, at least one band that doesn't even have a chief. That's the sad reality. Crying in their soup. We want real justice. There is no real justice in the International Commission of Jurists. Folks, look it up. I'm not making this up. I wouldn't have world academia in such large number following me, so many African academic doctorates of law, highest, most respected institutions in all of Pan-Africa, all 52 nations. They wouldn't be following me. These people are highly published all over the world. They wouldn't be following me, folks, if I was some racist, pervert, pathetic, degenerate welder. They wouldn't be following me because they don't find me handy or handsome. Unless, of course, I'm actually doing the work I'm saying I'm doing, and the presentations we're giving to all of the chiefs across Canada aren't real and legit. I am no Kevin Annett. I'm no doctorate. I'm no attachment to the crown. You can't get one. You can't get a lawyer to come forward and put their bar on the line for any of you. You can't. We're the only ones doing it. And go ahead, Treaty Indians, run away. Métis and Inuit, go ahead, run away. Run away from this. Wait for the Liberal government or the Conservatives or the NDP or the Bloc or the Green to make everything right for you. You're going to be in the other category. Colonialism hasn't gone anywhere. Look at your immigration numbers. And for those chiefs who say, well, we'll just adopt in and we'll build our numbers that way. Guess what, folks? Read your J Treaty. 50% blood. Once that's gone, Canada wants you to do all these things. Canada feeds you an untruth forever and a day since 1867. It is built, cemented, and current reality legally imposed on you from 1867. A time of age of empires, a time of colonialism, a time of the savage Indian forever and a day, and the slave third class. That is forever and always will be the design of Canada. I don't know what's going to happen. We're going to continue forward. Sorry, everybody, but Leah Red Crow is not going to see RCMP arrest me. Not going to see ICC do anything but record all this. Record it. They've heard it all before. Character assassination, they've heard it all before. They've seen the lovers of the abusers all before. I am no hero. But I can tell you this, folks, this average Joe and the group of average Joe Jane Treaty Indians, Métis, and Inuit overlaps are all just regular folks doing right by Canadians and by all First Peoples, delivering the real truth, a real education for free, for nothing, for the justice you called for. From the real authority, I'm going to say it again, the United Nations Permanent Security Council, the victorious allies from World War II, veto-wielding countries, 3 of which we have their personal ambassador emails. They didn't give them to Leah Red Crow. They gave them to me, and she used that with her NDP cohorts. And you go run to RCMP, they're not going to do nothing. They know exactly what this is and what you, silly girl, have done. It's to your patheticism, not mine. And every chief you ruin, it sits on your shoulders. Residential school genocide is real. The presentation I gave every chief with reportables is real. I don't claim to be any civil society. Puh! I spit on Canada's civil society. You have no idea the works I've done in Canada and in politics and in the back door and in the back room. You have no idea. This is real. I may not be some big hero. I am no doctorate of anything. I am someone who works very hard and delivers the absolute truth. And I most certainly have never lied or frauded any First Peoples. Certainly not any Treaty Indian. Certainly not any unceded Indians. Certainly not any Métis. And certainly not any Inuit. And certainly not all of my fellow Canadians. 99% of the third class. Never lied to any of you. What we brought forward is 100% true. And silly little girl, corrupt little Indian from Treaty 6, and there are quite a few, and I've dealt with them, as sad as that is. I will reach out to Treaty 6 Grand Chief. I will attempt to give the same presentation I gave to another Grand Chief that I promised I wouldn't disclose. But understand this, all those who bed themselves with the politicians guilty of the genocide or try to align themselves. The ICC don't care if you're black. They don't care if you're red, yellow, brown, or white. Genocide is defined. Genocide is the business of their crime. This guy isn't guilty of any genocide, and especially is not guilty of any racism, none whatsoever. Pathetic that people don't even look at your life and your history. They go with CBC, they go with Justin Trudeau, they go with Rachel Notley and Jagmeet Singh. Even Jason Kenney lied to all Albertans as he gets thrown out of office now today. And people try to hold on to this. And to CBC, if you've got a news story up, maybe it's time I file a lawsuit upon you, because you can't even pull witnesses now to get anything against me, which means you're liable for defamation of character. And maybe we should be putting CBC on the hook for the genocide, along with Chrystia Freeland. She's not out of this in any way, shape, or form either. She continues it on through the scoop. It's pathetic. It's pathetic. Who in their right mind would throw away their own people? A free education. Why would your go-to be run to those that you have run out, cried in your soup, and accused of the most heinous crimes? Why would you, unless the only reason why you got on a soapbox was hoping that the slave class Canadian, through the genocidal maniac politicians, pay you off using the slave class money, and that you don't really care about any of those children? You could care less. All you care about is how much money you can fill in your pockets, because you're down with the crown. That's the truth. Good luck on your mission with RCMP. Good luck with your mission with the UNSCP5 ambassadors. Good luck with your mission with the ICC. I'm going to say it again. They've all heard from you lunatics many, many times. It's their job. Every day of their life, they get report after report. Damaging your fellow First Nations, lying to your fellow First Nations is not just a sin before God, the Creator, but it's a sin against all the souls of those children. Your need to kiss ass to Rachel Notley, NDP, Jagmeet Singh, NDP, and Justin Trudeau is the most serious of heinous human rights violations against your own people. You're sick, you're perverted, and you're wrong. And it's sad. I don't know, folks, how many chiefs will buy into that. She's not the only one. She's the second of which to jump up on a soapbox. I'm going to say it again for everybody. I was 100% near blind during that period of time. You'll see me with my glasses. If you don't pull CTV's interviews, you're going to find I was blind. You'll find CBC interview me going through. Absolutely on my Facebook, you'll watch me go through my lens transplants. I went through it for everybody. Not fake. I could pull my hospital records and show everybody 2 transplants, taking a monumental amount of radiation in my life, taking a monumental amount of physical abuse in my life. Monumental. I've got tons of brain damage, not that it's ruined me in some ways, but it hasn't ruined me in my ability to articulate my memory. But there are things that have come with costs. I've been victimized by hate crime. And it's funny that those who can't even stand up to their own failures in life, their own choices, resort to pointing the finger at somebody else. Politicians like to dig up dirt, make up dirt, or even set you up. I'm no fool. My children are all mixed. You'll find my entire family is all mixed. People who get to know you find out that I am the multicultural family in this that they call Canada. When you start looking around at the politicians on soapboxes screaming racism, you'll find they're 100% white, and they remain locked and loaded in their first-class structure. They're all wealthy, white, and elite. Or they might be a color, but a wealthy elite from another country, loyal to the crown, and have majesty all through their lineage, because they believe they're superior human beings. And that white elite in Canada sure loves that. They certainly don't mix their families around. No, no, no. But they're the first to call all of us racist, accuse us of everything. When they get caught with their pants down, it's always somebody else's fault. Find the blind guy, the poor guy, the guy who didn't even host the event. Blame him. Oh, yes, that works. He's too poor, too handicapped to do anything about it. I'm not handicapped anymore. I still may be somewhat impoverished, But I'm moving on with my life. I've given a tremendous gift with a good, courageous group of First Peoples who all know my entire history, all know me at the personal level, and you're never going to find me attached to any racism, any hate crimes, or any acts, none whatsoever, except for decolonization and absolute truth in real international law, in real international court from the victorious allies of World War II. Bad move, Leela Red Crow. It's not fake UN, you stupid, stupid girl. You genocidal, loving, corrupt First Nations person. Sick. I'm going to reach out to Six Nations Grand Chief. We're going to see what he has to say, but pathetic. Pathetic. And you can try to destroy me, but all you're successfully doing is destroying your people forevermore. And maybe that's what you want. I don't know. Sick, sick, sick. Share it out there, folks. There's no arrest coming. There's no crime committed. There's no fraud. There's no fake nothing. This is the real UN, the real one, and the real court. Absolutely. I can back up everything I say. Everything I say. And for those who've never watched it, for all the First Peoples and all the chiefs who've never watched it, UNSC Ambassador Zhang Zhun, currently the UNSC Ambassador for China, not only acknowledged my presentation, but gave the presentation June 28th, 2021, as he stated, published live on Twitter. I've screenshotted all of it. Can't make it up. It's the real deal. How would I get their email? How would I get his personal cell phone number? How would I get their office? I challenge any First Nation or any Canadian, call those offices and try to replicate what I did. Good luck. It takes years and years of hard work. And if you think those nations are going to listen to some racist welder from Canada, they won't, but they would if you had an international community and legal minds behind you to back up everything you say. And you've been in all those organizations, as I have been. Why would they follow me on Twitter? Again, why would they follow a welder with an economics degree on Twitter? Why? Why? Why so many African extreme academics? Why would all these black people be following me from Africa with doctorate degrees in law? Why? Why so many American academics? Why Russians? Why? Why doctorates from Russia? Why? Why doctorates from Ukraine? How do I got Ukraine and Russian doctorates? How do I have anyone? Why would they spend any time with me at all? Why? They all know everything. Good luck with your RCMP, Leah Red Crow. Sick, depraved. You're pathetic, and you did a incredibly grave injustice for your people. I'll see what your Grand Chief has to say. But, Chiefs, you decide what you're going to do. First Peoples, decide what you do. But am I the enemy? Or is it the Canadian government? Because I certainly have no RCMP members ever in my family. We're all the lowly third class forever and a day. Some of us made it in business. In our history, that's as far as we went. You want to learn all about my family? In Treaty 7, Stoney, Dakota, go find out all about the Bjorkman family. It's not going to come back bad at all. Quite the opposite, in fact. Too bad, though. That's Treaty 6. Always been this way. Lovers of NDP, lovers of the criminals, sellouts, and a lot of them, they love the abuse, I guess. That's my video. Big storm here, folks. Bye now. I'm getting rained on. Bye.